From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. President Joe Biden has expressed grave concerns about the risk of all-out war in the Middle East amid escalating Israeli military attacks in Gaza and Lebanon. Speaking on ABC's The View, Biden highlighted the urgent need for a diplomatic solution. He said the Arab world very much wants to have a settlement that could reshape the region. Biden reiterated the necessity of a two-state solution despite differing views with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Speaking at the UN General Assembly earlier this week, Biden said full-scale war is not in anyone's interest and called for a diplomatic solution. However, Biden's remarks were not well received in Lebanon. The country's Foreign Minister Abdullah Abu Habib said the president's address in New York was neither strong nor promising. Meanwhile, progressive lawmakers in the U.S. House are demanding an immediate arms embargo to halt Israel's ongoing bombardment of Lebanon. Representative Rashida Tlaib has expressed deep concern for the Lebanese community. She is emphasizing the indiscriminate violence they now face alongside the tragedy in Gaza. Tlaib has accused the Biden administration of enabling war crimes by continuing military support for Israel, urging him to act swiftly to prevent further bloodshed. Representative Ilhan Omar is also advocating for the end of military aid to Israel, as well as a de-escalation of tensions in both Lebanon and Gaza. In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of Jordan, Egypt, and Iraq are condemning Israel's violence in Lebanon, saying it is driving the region towards all-out war. During a meeting at this week's UN General Assembly in New York, the three leaders called on the international community and the UN Security Council to intervene and end the ongoing conflict, which has killed over 40,000 Palestinians and more than 500 Lebanese. The ministers emphasized that the escalation must be addressed by ending Israel's aggression towards Gaza. They are urging immediate measures to restore peace and security, warning that failure to act will have dire consequences for the entire region. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has firmly rejected a ceasefire proposal put forth by the U.S. and France, stating that attacks on Lebanon will persist. His office clarified that Netanyahu has not responded to the American-French initiative for a 21-day ceasefire along the Lebanon-Israel border aimed at halting escalating hostilities. This call for a truce was backed by President Joe Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron, who emphasized the need for negotiations to prevent a wider regional conflict. The allies, including the UK and EU, had also supported the proposal. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has also called for an immediate ceasefire, while Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati condemned the situation as a breach of sovereignty. Israeli military chief Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi has indicated that continued airstrikes against Hezbollah could lead to a ground invasion of Lebanon. Israel killed at least 15 Palestinians in airstrikes across Gaza on Thursday, according to the Civil Defense Service. Among the casualties were 5 individuals, including 2 children, in a strike on a home east of Khan Yunis, with further fatalities reported from drone attacks in the area. Artillery shelling also injured several others in the Nusayrat and Bureish refugee camps. Israeli forces have carried out an airstrike on a school in northern Gaza's Jabalia, and a number of casualties are reported. Local media named the targeted school as Hafsa al-Fallujah School, where displaced people are sheltering. This violence comes despite a UN Security Council resolution calling for a ceasefire as Israel intensifies its war on Gaza. Israel has killed at least 41,495 Palestinians and injured over 96,000 since it began its war in October. However, the British medical journal The Lancet reported in July that Israel's war and violence may have killed 186,000 Palestinians in Gaza in the same period. Israel faces accusations of genocide at the International Court of Justice for its actions in Gaza. Palestinian authorities in Gaza returned a container carrying the bodies of 88 Palestinians to Israel on Wednesday due to a lack of data about their identities. Head of the government media office Ismail Alfayoumi said the bodies were delivered by Israel in a container in southern Gaza without any coordination with Palestinian or international parties. Thawabteh denounced the Israeli practice as a heinous crime that violates international and humanitarian law. He said this was not the first time the Israeli side has committed such inhumane acts. Thawabteh is urging international organizations, including the Red Cross, to take responsibility for what is happening. Israeli airstrikes across Lebanon have killed 81 people and injured 403 since Wednesday evening. The Israeli military bombed multiple villages and towns in southern Lebanon. Notably, an overnight strike in eastern Lebanon killed 20, primarily among Syrian refugees. The Lebanese Interior Ministry reported that approximately 13,500 Syrians have fled back to Syria amid escalating violence. Among the casualties, an entire family perished in Shat, while additional strikes in Aita al-Shab and Qana also resulted in deaths. The Israeli military claimed on Thursday it hit around 75 Hezbollah targets in Lebanon during the night, including ammunition depots of the Lebanese armed group. Hezbollah has said in a statement it launched a barrage of missiles on Israel's Rafael military facilities in the Zevulun area north of Haifa. The ongoing military actions have displaced an estimated 500,000 individuals, with schools in Beirut becoming makeshift shelters for those in need. Israel has killed at least 620 people and injured over 2,000 others in Lebanon since Monday, when it began strikes. Western media amplifies Israeli narrative, ignores civilian killings in Lebanon. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. A recent report in The Intercept is noting how the media in Western countries is highly biased in its coverage of Israel's war on Gaza and Lebanon. It cites the example of a recent airstrike in South Beirut. Israel claimed it was attacking a gathering, branding them as Hezbollah leaders and the area as a militant stronghold. However, Israel's strike destroyed a residential building, killing numerous civilians, with many still unaccounted for beneath the rubble. The Intercept says Western media parroted the Israeli military's description of the attack, calling the area a Hezbollah stronghold and thereby minimizing the civilian toll. It argues that the language almost gives sanctity to Israel to target the households. Observers argue this biased language fails to recognize the complexities of the region, reducing a vibrant community to mere military jargon. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump says that if he is elected, he will retaliate against threats from Iran with overwhelming force. This is in the wake of recent alleged threats to his life from Tehran. During a rally in North Carolina on Wednesday, he said, "If you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens." Trump assured supporters that the U.S. military is watching and waiting after a briefing from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence regarding threats from Iran aimed at destabilizing the U.S. Analysts say his comments underline the ongoing tensions between the two countries as Trump campaigns for the presidency. Cornell University has suspended a PhD student following his involvement in a Free-Palestine demonstration at a recent campus career fair. Mamadou Tal leads the Coalition for Mutual Liberation and is a student at Cornell's African Studies program. Last week, he participated in a walkout with over 100 protesters targeting companies like Boeing, who have been accused of supporting Israel's war on Gaza. Cornell claims that Tal's action led to confrontations with police and created an intimidating atmosphere for those attending the fair. Tal was notified of his suspension and a no trespass order barring him from campus in an email from the Office of Student Conduct. He has refuted the allegations and says he only attended the protest briefly. Observers say the situation has raised concerns about academic freedom and students' right to engage in political activism. The Senate has passed a resolution recognizing the murder of 6-year-old Wadee Alfayoumi as a hate crime due to his Muslim and Palestinian identity. Wadee was stabbed to death on October 14th at his home in Plainfield, Illinois. His mother, Hanan Shaheen, was also attacked but survived. During the attack, the suspect, Joseph Zuba, who was the landlord of the building Fayoumi and Shaheen lived in, allegedly yelled, "All Muslims must die." Illinois Congresswoman Delia Ramirez stressed the resolution's significance, which comes just weeks before the first anniversary of the child's murder. The landmark resolution stresses a commitment and need to combat hate and declares zero tolerance for Islamophobia, along with all forms of discrimination. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.